Hello, good evening. My name is Kwabena. Welcome to what I've got to discuss or share with you this evening. After you have tested your business idea, after you have proven that this business model is working, after you have started to receive sales or revenue from the product that you're selling or the service that you're providing, it gets to a point you will see that you will need help. Somebody would have to come on board to help you. If you are fully committed to it, some people are not committed to the business, so maybe they just are doing it for revenue. It's what they call side business, and that's perfect for them if that is what they want to do, if that is their strategy. I'm talking of somebody who has given his time or her time to test the business idea, business model, which has started to work, and then you see that you have limited time as to what you want to do. The orders are coming in, the business is growing, and then you want to pick somebody to come on board to help you. Depending on the kind of business that you are doing, let's say if it's sales, what category of people are you looking for? Are you looking for somebody with JHS kind of education, or SHS or university kind of education? Or say if it's a construction company, are you looking for an artisan to help you, or are you looking for an engineer to help you? The kind of things that you look for in the first person or in the first few people that you take on board to help you as your business begins to grow is very important, because the essence of you, the number one skill that you have to have is your ability to manage people, or to lead people, to inspire people to be part of the dream that you have set for yourself. And so, for instance, if the kind of people you're looking for are the people with, say, higher education, your business is not known, you yourself, you're not sure of what you're doing. If you get somebody of that stature on board, you take more load, more stress than, say, you just open a provision shop and you need somebody with SHS or JHS kind of education. So depending on the spectrum that you are and the kind of people that you have to pick on board, I'll pick the two and let's see how we get them. For instance, if you just pick somebody who is SHS kind of person to help you sell your product or your service, what is it that you have to look for? It's likely that SHS kind of person who has just finished school, if it's around 18, 19 years old, who is helping you in your business, is not skilled. It's likely that they are just looking for a place to work to get revenue, or they are just looking for a place to get salary. That's what I mean. This category of people, what I see is that some of them have parents who are very much interested in what they go from this level, and some of them too have nobody who is there to help them. What do you look for? If you want to build it as a business, and let's say it's a sales business, you may need a lot of these people. but there's a cap as to how much they can handle in terms of quality decision making, and in terms of honesty, and in terms of even their commitment to you. So if you take this category of people, it means that a lot of the work will still rest on you. But if you go up in terms of education, and you pick somebody, say polytechnic or university kind of person too, they are also a bit proud, and no matter how many years they have been in the house looking for a job, if your business, nobody knows it, and you are just the first one who is working in that business, and you want him to come on board, what my experience is that majority of those people, no matter how many years they've been in the house, are not that quick to come and work in a business that you are doing and you are just evolving. They want to work in a business that is known, that they will tell their friends that I work with this company, this is our big office. A lot of these people in this category who have gone to college are not proud to work with what we call startup, or what we call a new company or a new business. You have to do a lot of talking, you have to do a lot of convincing, and I am not for that kind of people where you have to go low to convince them to be on board and beg them because they are not proud of their work. I am looking for somebody who is who will share this kind of vision with you. You just started it. They also have the disposition that this idea is good, this business can become a big business, therefore they come on board and work with you. Yes, they may work for salary, but they have some kind of pride in themselves and being part of this. I look for that, and a lot of them don't have any technical expertise per se. Even if they had technical education, they still have not practiced it, so you virtually, most of them, you virtually are training them, and they are going to learn with you on the job. And so you would have to look for somebody with that sense, with that level of thinking, to be proud of working in this kind of business. It's so much important. If they are not proud of being part of a startup, which maybe you just began, your office is in the house, and you are calling people on phone to tell them that, listen, we have this product we are selling, but it's because the work has increased and you need hand. You're looking for such kind of people. They are the best kind of people in terms of decision making if you're able to train them well. The fact that they have finished college does not mean they know anything anyway. They, in terms of critical thinking, a lot of them are not there, but then they have the basis that you can train. Now, these are the kind of people that you want to get on board if you're doing engineering kind of projects, or if you're building a business that would the customers are level-headed. But as usual, as a business leader, your number one skill is how you are able to work to attract quality talent, quality people. How do you do that? Will separate you from the one who only does everything by himself. It's also, so how are you able to bring this kind of people on board? The first one, you have to look for that kind of pride in them. They are very comfortable. They are not looking at their friends to say that, oh, my friend works with this known company and we just started anything. My experience with most of these guys is that even though they don't have anything to do, but they are not quick to come on board. Why? It's because, they don't want to take risk. So they don't want to, they are not sure. They want comfort, they want stability, they want a business or a company that they can work with and be proud of it, and be sure that the next 5 years that business is going to be there for them if they so happen to choose to work with that business. So you have to look for people with that kind of entrepreneurial thinking, people who are trying to prove themselves. They're very fine to be committed to this, to evolve the business into another level. My experience is that those people are very few. They are very few, and so you would have to set a pattern or a plan and a training program the moment you get somebody like that on board, you have to really stabilize their mind and teach them where you want to go, what you want to go. The kind of company culture that you are setting for the business is so critical. Other than that, you will not get people like that to work with you. Even when they come, few months they will leave. And I think this is what explains why we have a lot of unemployment amongst the people who have gone to college. The other people who have not gone to college, I mean, if they have finished SSS for a while, after 2-3 years, and they come on board, most of them are not in haste to look for another job. You may be able to train them if the expertise or the business that you're handling, their expertise or their level of education is okay with them. But even that, you have to still have a lot of training that you have carved for your business, the culture of the business that you want to build, and it has to be consistent. At least once a month you should be able to give some kind of training, and as the business grows, everybody that you want to pick, your interview process, what do you have to look for? You look for people with the same kind of thinking, people who are looking for a place to work, not just for the salary, but to make meaning, to learn something, to contribute to existence of something, you know. And you also look for good people. I don't know how you identify that, but you know, my instinct is that when you meet somebody with a good spirit, sometimes maybe 20%, 30% of the time, you'll be able to know that this person has a good spirit. It's a good start. It does not mean that you'll be 100% right in terms of your choice, but at least you have a better chance of having somebody who has some basic attitude. You know, they are honest. You can depend on them. They are hardworking. You know, they are not the people who are ungrateful, who are going behind you to, you know, to malign you and to meet competitors and sell the idea to them. These are some of the people that you want to look out for. You know, people who are thankful to work in this kind of business. You look for that, the base of it. I will look for that more than even the technical expertise, especially if it's a new company. You know, you yourself, you are not sure of what you're doing, and once you're not sure of what you're doing, they are in constant contact with you. They know where you are strong, they know where you are weak, they know what the expertise you have, and they know all the bad decisions that you're making. And therefore, such people should be good people. They should be good people at heart. They should be people who you can count on. They should be people that you can really relate to. They should be people who will be honest in everything that you're doing. You look for that. If you pick the other guys who you just think that you just need anybody to work with, therefore you just get anybody on board, you most often than not, if they are the type who have some kind of education, degree or HND, they will put you into trouble. They create unnecessary stress for you. So look for such kind of people. Those who have worked somewhere and understand the business better than you, yes, they bring on board some kind of network, some kind of expertise. They can help you grow quicker, but look for the fact that they should be good people. Look for that. How do you test that? I'm sure if you want to find a good person, you will know, are they kind? Are they people who easily let some bad things go, or they hold on to pettiness, you know, they hold on to grudge. They don't easily forgive. Such kind of people are not the people that you have to have as your first base of your first group of employees, since your platform is not that set, since your business is not that developed, since your systems are not that developed. You are really the business, you know, so you don't want to get some people on board who can just easily put you into a bad situation. So you look for this kind of people, and you have to have the belief that you are not going to do everything by yourself. So the earlier that you learn to manage people, the earlier that you learn how to manage people of various background, of different expertise, of different thinking, different religion, the better. And so you start with one, you learn. If it doesn't work, you go to the other one, because that is your number one skill. If you pick 10 and 8 go, you can get another 10, you know, because you are building a skill in building a team that can help the business to grow. don't worry so much about the wrong picks, you know, because if you knew it, then you would have built a big business right from the beginning. And human beings are the most complex part of the business equation that you're learning to build, and especially in this kind of economy that people are very much attached to, you know, prestigious kind of companies. Startup or a business that has just begun does not have that kind of leverage trying to attract people with quality, because you yourself, you may not even have the money to pay them, you know. So you are going to raise the money from the business, and you may not even be paying them that much good money. So you have got to provide a lot of inspiration, a lot of hope, a lot of faith, you know, to make them come to work and be part of something that you are building together. So you look for such kind of people who can endure pain, people who can persevere, people who are hardworking, people who can take what they call stress and still be coming to work and still be tough. You know, these are the characteristics that you look for. You don't look for the ones who are so much self-conscious and they want people to know that they have arrived somewhere. Your business is not that yet. You know, maybe when you have 100 people, 200 people, you can get such people on board. But for you to lift the business from the ground, you don't need such people. So there is a mindset of people who can come in at the early stages of a business. They are not as the same as the business that is well set, that has been in existence for 100 years. The people who work with companies that have just begun are entirely different from people who have to work with companies that have been established, where everything is perfect and predictable, you know. So you look for a certain kind of people, and these are the people that you look for. They should be entrepreneurial in thinking. They should have that belief in you and in the idea that you are building. They should be people who want to prove something with the skills that they have had or the education that they have had. They are not in people who are just looking for their only self, you know, only their interests. You are not looking for that, because at this stage of the business is just 1 year or 2 years. You just proving the idea. You know, now you are going to build a lot of things around it. A lot of things will happen in between. You don't need that kind of people who are looking for comfort all the time. It will not work. It will not work. It will not work. It will create a lot of pain for you. And so you look for people with that kind of disposition. Selfless, ambitious. They want to be part of building something together. They believe in themselves. They believe in the country. They can put up with pain. You know, those kind of people you look for. You're not looking for the ones who are always looking for the quickest way to get ahead, you know, and who are assuming that their colleagues at the other end are far more ahead of them. Those are not the people that you look out for. And from experience, I think that the women are far more better than the men in terms of the people who have just finished college. The women are a bit more credible. The women are a bit more trustworthy. They are not vicious, so to say. The men, if you have to let them handle money and handle a lot of your network, most of them would be thinking of, if this man can do this, then I can do it, you know. So they will take the business idea, they will take the product, they will take the service and go and try to start something, because they think that if you are doing it, then it's that easy, they can also do it. The women are not that, from what I've seen. Most of them will be very much committed. Most of them will be much patient with you in growing what you're trying to grow, you know. So these are the things that you look for. You look for people with that kind of level mindedness. It's difficult, it's tough, and that's why we have a lot of them not getting jobs, because the pride to introduce this kind of business that has just started may not be there, especially if they have the higher form of education. But yet you still have to have the skill of being able to pick the right kind of people to come on board and work with you. It's a skill. How do you look at? For me, when I'm doing the interviews, I look through their backgrounds. I mean, where you live, your parents, what influence where you are now, why did you choose the course that you chose. I try to test your understanding of, you know, ethics. Are you grateful? Are you thankful? I look for those things. I may not be able to find everything, but if I get 10%, 20% right, it will be a good thing, you know. So you look for that, because once you start the business, it's going to grow. It's an organism. It's going to grow, and it cannot grow if you are the only player in a business. No, it cannot grow. So all growing businesses bring people on board. And how do you keep these people from destroying the business, but rather getting inspired from you and making contribution for the business to grow? It's a skill. A lot of people find it very frustrating trying to handle people, you know, coming into the business and people leaving the business at the slightest notice. It's a bit tough, but it's something that you get used to, if you ever get used to it at all. But at every point, there's always a talent somewhere who is ready to come on board. At every point, no matter who leaves, there's always somebody who is ready to come on board and be part of it. And if you're able to build a business that has a very high retention rate in terms of the people who stay with you, then you are obviously a good leader. And you should not also be that worried much if they want to leave. After a while that they have come on board and they have worked with you, and you see that the business is evolving, if they become that much, you know, people have a vision for themselves, you know, and sometimes they just come there for a short while to go. You should not be worried, and they should not leave like you are angry. You should not be pained, because they are human beings with their will and with their aspirations, you know, and that's why the other person will also come in the first place. And always check the last week that they had. How did they live? Check that. There's a way you can check that. You can call them, but most often the people that they provide the references, they are not most of them they will tell you what you want to hear. So you have to find a way of looking at how they left the last job. You know, there should be a way you find it. How you find it, sometimes I tend to even call their parents, knowing very well that they will talk good things about the people, but I want to hear the voice of the parent, how they are putting the words together, you know, and I make my choices or my decision based on that. So those are the things that you have got to deal with if you are building an idea and it's getting momentum, and you have to have people to come on board. You will not be able to do everything by yourself. If you going to build a business, you don't have to build a business that you are the only employee. Then why waste your time? Then why don't you just spend your time doing something else? And so you have to master that idea of handling people, you know, handling people and growing with people and understanding people, understanding the culture they are coming from, how they make their decisions and their choices. There's a lot of work that you will do on them for them to be very productive. If you're handling artisans, for instance, if you're handling masons, if you're handling carpenters, if you're handling electricians, mechanics, those are different categories of people. They are their own men. They make their own decision. They follow their own time. It's tough, but you have to understand how they are, and with some bit of encouragement, some bit of talk, some bit of training, you may be able to move them into some kind of stage where they become more time conscious, more productive. They're able to give you feedback, you know, because without those groups, your business will never take off and grow as you want it to grow. And yet they are the most difficult. I will even place them higher than the finances, because if you bring in the money and the finances are not good, forget, you know. And you bring in the money and the team is not good, you will lose the money quickly, because they will even steal the money anyway. They will take out everything that you are bringing on board, you know. So I think that the people are your skill to master how to lead the people, how to manage the people, how to get which talent on board will decide whether you are going to succeed or whether you're not going to succeed. And so it's not so much the so-called system that you're even able to put in place. It's the psyche, the people decide everything that is happening in your business. And the treatment that you do, the treatment that you give to them is the same treatment that is going to set the culture. These are the first people, the second people that you're employing. How you are inspiring them, how you are treating them, how you handle them, how honest you are with them, is going to set the pace for the culture that you are going to build for the business that you have. Every business started with what? With one person, with two, with three, and then they set a DNA of a business, and that determines whether the business is going to grow or that the business is going to fail. And so your ability to pick people from this same culture and make them more productive will decide whether you will succeed as a business person who is able to lift a company, and prevent a lot of losses. Because you can do a lot. It's not so much the number that you are employing, but how efficient that this group that you start to set with are. If they are very efficient, you will go far, and their efficiency will depend on the way you set the whole thing. Why did you pick this guy that you interview but not that guy? And every employment or everybody that you are employing is really like taking lotto. You're taking lotto. It's a gamble. You may only be certain after maybe 1 year. Then you will see what you have got. But at least make sure that you're able to save a lot. You're able to save a lot. For instance, if I'm employing somebody for a sales person, I ask them, what are your aspirations? And if you're telling me I want to be a policewoman, I say no. Then go and become a policewoman. If you tell me I want to become a nurse, I say please, here is not hospital. It's better you go to the hospital there and learn the trade. These are some of the things that you can use, and look at their interests. Are they watching too much TV? Do they fidget so much on their phone? It means their attention is not there. They are in attention deficit. So you look for little things. Are they clean? When they are coming, are they chewing gum? You look for all those. Are they brushy? You look for that. You look how they have done their hair. These guys with a long beard, talking American English. I'm a bit hesitant in trying to take a lot of these guys on board, because it means that there's something that they have not given attention to, and we don't have this. You don't have a business that has robust systems to to check them well. Therefore, you need people who have close to what you're looking for. You have to do that, or they will come in and they will screw everything that you have done. And a lot of them. Some people come on board just to study the idea and go and do it. Can you stop all of them? They also have to find their living, so that should not be a problem at all. That's okay, But you want to safeguard your business, you want to grow it, so you look for good people. At least if you get 10% right, you're doing something right with how many people you're able to get on board and to train and to inspire. So always look for that once the idea that you have tested is working, the next thing will be to start to get people on board to help you grow the business. Some people will look at the family, which has its own dynamics. Some people will look at friends to come on board, which also has its own dynamics. Some people will look for friends, and some people will also go open market and look for people that they have never met. If you know somebody who gives recommendation, I think if they come in and they fit, I think most often that is far better than just from nowhere you throw it out, especially if they are going to handle money and they are going to handle a lot of the products in your absence. Then you would want to establish that part. It's so critical, because then they will be stealing from you. Can you prevent the stealing 100%? No, but you can reduce it. So those are the things that you look for, depending on what kind of business that you have. And people coming, majority of the people coming to work, not to contribute. So now you have to shift that as well. They come in to get the better. So if they have access to, for instance, if you are running a transport company and they are the transport manager and you have about 10 cars or 2 taxis that somebody is managing, they can easily connive with the drivers and take the money and give you all kind of excuses. So somebody you want to put in charge of money, you want to check their background well, and at the same time you don't also want to strangle them, such that you have brought somebody who's good on board, but then you don't leave them to make decisions and work. That then why did you bring them in the first place? But if you bring them on board, then how do you also make sure that they are not collapsing the business? It's a tough call, and those are the things that you will master if you start to employ, and they go and you employ, and they go and you employ, and the business starts to grow, and you get to a point that you know that you have mastered that, and you've been able to build a good culture where people have character, where people work with their heart, where people have sense of purpose, they have self-confidence, they have the interest of the company at heart. Those things will not happen just by chance. You have to build them consciously. And if you're the number one employee and you are bringing somebody on board, you start with that. You get the training manual, you sit down, you develop that, and you train him, and you start to train him every day or her every now and then to make sure that they are getting what is in your mind. Because if you don't train them, they will never know what is in your mind. And you may know so much, but you may not be teaching them. And don't worry about teaching them everything that you know. You will still get the inspiration because you're teaching, and once you're teaching them, you're also becoming better as a person yourself, and you're becoming a better business leader, being able to inspire people, handle people, and increase the numbers. So if you're able to get that, then you have a good chance of building a good business, because you have mastered a key component, which is the people side, which is being able to handle a good people, being able to identify talent. And sometimes I remember there was a time I went to the washing bay and I saw this gentleman who was, I saw the way he was working, and I talked to him. He became friend, and then I put in something that we do in charge, and he has been with us for over 7 years. His level of education, he didn't even finish SSS, but there's a lot of things that he handles, and he's very credible. He's hardworking. He's a good man. So sometimes you just have to have the eye to identify talent, potential in people, and that will mean that you have the heart to look for the good in people. So these are the things that you look for, and you are always looking for such people, always. And when they come around, you look for that. You look for how they solve issues. You look for how they do their things, and almost all the time you get them to be on board. And you're always looking for such people, actually, because they don't just happen. You look for them all the time, and you throw out the invitations, and you are looking for good managers, good salespeople, good engineers. You look for that, and you start to interview them all the time, because you don't want to wait till the other person goes, and then you are looking for somebody to cover up. In that case, you are always lagging. So you develop that kind of thinking, that if you're going to start a business and the business is working, then the next thing is you have to develop the habit of saying that I will need people to come on board, and these are the things that I look for when these people are coming on board. And you have to do a lot of sieve through, and get the kind of quality. And if you fail, some people will come in, and the next day you were so confident that these people are very good, and the next day something happens and they want to leave. You're staking lotto, so don't be disappointed in that. You go for another person and another person, and for going, they will go, and coming, a lot will come. So you have to have a big heart. If you're not comfortable with people moving, then it's going to be tough for you. But I think every one of us will get used to it as you continue to grow. And at times, in the least moment that you expect this person to go, they will not even send any signal, and the next minute they say that, please, I have to go, I am, and you can't so much on that person. but yet that's why you are still developing the skill, and so you would still throw out and look through the talents that you have found and get somebody to cover that. And almost all the time you get somebody who may even be better than the one who left, because you are choosing from a better skill than the one that you used to choose that person who is gone. So that is how I interpret issues, and how you don't have to spend all your life, all your energy trying to build everything by yourself. That will not help you. You have to rather upgrade your skill to get the good people, quality people on board, and to build a good business. So open your mind and open your heart and build talent, and get the things that you have to get to pick the best of people. Is always the best. Okay, so thank you very much tonight. Azali, thank you for watching, and Miss Martin, thank you. Martin Osu and Daniel Boama, thank you for watching. Okay, good night.